No, it's going to be harder for me to do this because I've got a plaster on my arm. I think if you looked closely on one of my videos, it's that one, No Life Without YouTube. Yeah, that one video. I don't want to play the clip because I won't be able to because I know I'm terrible at editing. Anyway, this is the Wicso series, originally by, what's his name now? It is Pro. Yeah, I did not make this series up on my own. I mean, clearly not. I mean, he's probably got like multiple million views on his videos for this. At least. His most viewed, Ada's Pro's most viewed Wicso video probably has over, probably not over 1 million views. Yeah, I've checked. Anyway, I'm gonna name all the nations on the map. Like this one is gonna be Michigan. See, it probably would take less time for me to type things out if my arm didn't have a plaster on it. And I need to readjust it like every minute or so. Also, this is at a time where the Earth has like 100,000 people. So there are very few major cities. Because the capital city has half of that population, 64,000. So it's 128,000 people on this planet. That means every single other bit of the 64,000 people has to be shared around the rest of the country. Now, there are only 3 other major cities. This one in the peninsula, this one here, and then finally the one that's most south. Now, more major cities appear as the days go by. Like, in a few months' time, they have 200. They double in population. And that actually had 6 more cities in. This one here, this one here, this one here. I've added 3 right now. These 3, 4, 5, and finally 6. They're pretty spread out. There are 2 on like the edge of the nation. It's mainly most of them are like along the edge. But the capital, which has now got 100,000 people, like exactly 100,000 people, so it doesn't have half of the population anymore. But a game changer appears. A second nation appears on the map. And I think they're gonna get bigger than Michigan. Not gonna lie. Oh god. I was legit about to make my worst nightmare come true. A full world nation. Get out! By the way, I'm making soundboard sounds myself, obviously. I'm gonna call this, Tremina. That's gonna be the name. I wasn't going to stop there, by the way, just saying. I was gonna stop here. Gonna have it go around like this. Have this. Yeah, that's definitely bigger than Michigan, but it has less people by the time it was created. Because by the time it was created, Michigan already had 2 million people. That means a lot more major cities appear. Most of the population is around the capital, of course. And the outskirts of the nation are also quite filled up for some reason. Really the only place without much people is this section of the outskirts. Also, Tremina by the time it was created, had 100,000 people. Which, for scale, that was how many people Michigan had for like 100 years. No, not 100 years. That's too much. They would have grown to like, I don't know, 15 million people by then. Little did I know that was a lot less. By the way, I'm actually saying this in the video. That's not editing me. That's actual me. Although Tremina has so many people down here by the time it reaches 1 million people. But by the time it reaches 1 million people, Michigan's already fully developed into like a massive nation with 25 million people. And yet it's been 15 years since its creation. Now, there's going to be a third nation. Now, Michigan thought, well, it's crazy how Tremenda was so stacked there. But that's because this nation completely opposes them, but they also had most of their population with them, so they had to regrow. And that's how they got so many people over here. They just had so many births. They had the highest birth rate by a long shot. They had 2 births per second. Michigan only had like 1. No, they had 0.5. Yeah, they were losing people at that time. This nation's covered in major cities, but that's only because they're small. This next nation's so underpopulated because people don't tend to be living there as of its position being next to the strongest nation while also being far north. Oh, I forgot to rename that third nation and this nation. I'll rename this nation first, to be fair, since we are literally there. I'm gonna rename it to Northland. It's probably going to be changed to Southland by the time. I mean, it is like Northern Hemisphere sort of thing. You can call it Northland since it is in the Northern Hemisphere. Nah, it's actually crazy to think we'll know this nation as the most southern, but its capital is more northern than the southernmost point of Michigan. Very crazy that. Also, Tremina starts their work on Lake Superior. They just made an island there. Oh, that was not meant to be. I mean, I didn't see the use of that anyway, but like, let it back in. I think it was like that, I don't know though. They have population growth in where Lake Superior is, and where Lake Michigan, and is this Lake Huron? I don't know my Great Lakes, guys. Do you really think I'd know my Great Lakes? I don't even live here. I live across the Atlantic Ocean from here. Although no one even knows what the Atlantic Ocean is, technically. since nobody borders it yet. Like, technically, Northland is the only nation with ocean access, because they can actually get out of here. This one's going to be named South Michigan. Northland actually has more people than Tremina. It just doesn't look like that because everyone lives in these, because most of the people just live in these cities. Well, it's more spread out for Tremina. The most depopulated area is probably going to be here. They only have 2 cities up here. I mean, they do have a little bit more down here, but like, these 2 just decided to be camped in for some reason. I'll just call this New England. Even though it's actually older than England itself. Actually, we'll call this one England and call the one across the Atlantic Ocean New England at this point. I mean, it's gotta work. England is just the... This is the first nation that actually gets past the sea a lot. They are going to be stuck here for a bit until they realise Alaska connects to this area. Blah, blah, blah. Get all the way over there. Well, they don't connect. They're really close, though. And they actually claim new land down here. Anyway, this nation is now going... This is the first nation to have 2 separate pieces of land, I think. Unless you count that separate, unless you count the bits that are actually separate. But they don't look separate. It don't matter anyway. We'll just call this, I like to do this sometimes. Like, I make some nations, like, in some things I do not on camera, I just, I put random nations, like, I put Portugal over here before, and I've put it back where it actually were. That don't make sense. I know, it does not make sense. Fun fact, more people actually live here than there, but it just doesn't look like it. Because this section has way more major cities. And it's bigger. And plus, it's crazy though. Then the undisputed champion is my toes! Big Bermuda! Damn, boy, he thick! It'll get shrunk down to a speck on the map that you can't see. Wah. Anyway, this nation's gonna be called Coastland. I mean, it makes sense. But now we have 3 countries that end with land in this world. And that's, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not even gonna say 7. My toes! With 7 nations, and 3 of them have land. What's 142, 857 times 3 now? I think it's 428,571, if I'm not mistaken. Just had to do some thinking time while rolling around. Well, not rolling around, I had to roll to my thinking space. Because it's efficient for me. Because they are so because they're actually so far away from the rest of the nations. Unlike South Michigan, who had time to grow, these guys didn't. They just appeared out of nowhere. So unlike South Michigan, they basically had no people throughout all their nation after they... But they started recovering down here and getting more cities. And you might be like, where's the war at? I'll show you the war here. Right now. Actually, not right. Oh, yeah, right now. Tremor is actually very weak. They may not look like it. South Michigan has way more people. Then they pull the gauntlet out. The winning machine. They take out 4 major cities. Hold on, let me just press play. Boring. That's so it's actually easy to do this though, for real. Crack ball. Why am I singing that? So the country whose economy is doing the worst is actually South Michigan. Probably because they're fighting. Probably just because they fought someone. These two are probably gonna be in the worst financial struggles out of every single nation so far that's been added in. One thing that's on this game that isn't in the original series, it's economy. Like, country's economy, although it can only go up to 999,999. Then, Tremor just stops fight. Pieces out with South Michigan. Let's see who's in the worst financial struggles now. It's still South Michigan. Nothing's changed. Mottos! The big nation comes out. The big one, as I would say. It took the world by storm. Michigan is now surrounded by nations. The only nation, in fact, to not be able to expand freely without having to fight another nation too. Now, South Michigan wanted their borders to look better than what they are, so they expand a little more, like this. Then, some people quickly flee to this section, but that just deleted a major city up here, but then it gets repopulated. This section's actually really populated. And people have started to adapt to the cold in this section. So they get more people. And Tremina actually starts getting a lot stronger than what they are. I'm actually going to get used to saying that. Yep, I've never said that in my life. Unless I have done. And I just don't remember it. And it's probably the second option, knowing me. I promised myself I wouldn't do that. But, to be fair, Poland has more people than Coastland. And that's by a long shot, too. I'm not joking. Because Poland's population is actually so high. Like, all the major cities you see are over 1 million. Wait, no. Not every major city. The major cities now are measured from over 100,000 people. That's considered major. Even though one of these cities, one of the cities on this map have 25 million people already. Yeah, it's the first episode. And, I did say Michigan already got to 25 million people. I think by the time South Michigan became a thing, and that's not even a stretch, though. Legit. That's not even a stretch. Milford Moore? No, it's actually got less than 25 million people right now. So it can't be. Poland also has less than 25 million people. And I said Coastland had less than Poland. So that means Coastland is immediately ruled out. The countries with less than 25 million are Milford Moore, Coastland, and Poland. So really, the nations that could get this are Tremina, South Michigan, Northland, and England. Northland's immediately ruled out since it's got 30 million people. And some of these... and 3 of these cities have 5 million people. And that being its capital, which is already the biggest city. And this city, this one, that's inside the gold one, the gold section. And then the city northwest of the one inside the gold. And that's already half of the population in 3 cities, though. You can't see South Michigan. Because that is 40 million people. That is 45 million people. And its capital is 15 million people. Yes, it could still do it. But, the thing is, South Michigan is so spread that one other city is 15 million people. And it's the most south city here. And then Tremina, it's either Tremina or Michigan. And both of these actually have a shot because they both have 200 million people. Well, Tremina does. Michigan has 500 million. Yes, it's the first episode. And the country already has 500 million people. 200 million for Tremina, 500 million for Michigan. They could both do it. Tremina's capital city is its biggest city. And it has 24 million people. Yeah, Tremona's biggest city has 24 million people. So close to being the second city. But the city with over 25 million people or more is obviously just Michigan's capital, because that is the biggest city in the whole country. Anyway, who's the smallest? I mean, I was expecting Poland, but then I was expecting Northland to be next. But somehow Coastland and South Michigan are less than that. Oh, Milford Moore wasn't changed. Milford Moore's name wasn't even changed. That's after Northland. That means England, Michigan, and even goddamn Tremona have more. I'm gonna call this one Mexico. That's diabolical, because Mexico and America, hell no. But the fact that Poland, Coastline, and Mexico didn't have 25 million people is crazy. Like, the oldest one's Poland. But also, I've got to mention, before this video's over, I've got to mention this, but like, in the next episode, this map will look different by the start of it, because it will. Just saying. I've also got to shoot the thumbnail as well. Let me just save this right now, though. Now, Wicso's big better because it's smaller. Wicso YouTube, I'm gonna call this one. Then I'm gonna. Wait, I can't end it yet. Although I actually could actually.